and gentlemen, we now move to our last panel discussion of the day. That was the siren and the sound. That is the last session. It was on purpose. The topic being RCS and Conversational Commerce. We have our moderator on stage. That's Dario Betti from MEF. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a huge round of applause. Inviting our esteemed panelist, Shailesh Mahadik from Tatwa Technologies. Shailesh is saying he needs a huge round of applause. Only then he's coming up on stage. Nipun Popli from Infobip. Dwarka Nath from Vodafone. Darshan Babel from Dotgo. And Awnish from GTS TechLabs. Once again, a huge round of applause for our panelists. Come on, everybody, a huge round of applause. Dario, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. We kept RCS a very eventful, full of surprises event to keep you on the edge of your seats for the last sessions of today before we start recapping and looking at all the things we've been discussing today. Thanks to the 5 speakers we have lined up today. As you will see, 5 different views, and we'll understand a bit more. But RCS, I probably don't need to tell you, I guess, too much what RCS is. We can jump in straight. You might know it as RBM, the usage of the new SMS-like technology, which is IP-based and similar to an OTT for business messaging, so RBM as well. But as I said, full of surprises until last year. That's a GSMA standard, which has been deployed by some of the operators, but not all, eventually supported by Google, and then we heard last November by Apple as well. So plenty of things have happened. But one thing that has also been very keen for the last few years is that this market, India, is where everybody's looking at. It's the most exciting of the RCS market themselves. So I think there's no better way to, rather than listening to my words actually, but to understand more about India and the status of this market by introducing each one of you on what you do. But I'll start with the operator on the panel here. So Dwarka, you are from Vodafone. Vodafone Idea supports RCS. Tell us about the status, what's happening right now in RBM with you.
Hello. Yeah, thanks a lot, Dario. Thanks a lot. Thanks to GTS and MEF for organizing this event. Happy to be here, and it's been a great session so far. So I'll introduce myself quickly. So I'm Dwarka Nath. I take care of the messaging and VAS business for Vodafone Idea Business Services. And do you mind if you just...
Well, just remind us where we are with RBM, RCS in India, from a perspective of the operator, starting from the operator itself.
Great. So RBM, or RCS Business Management, we started it in April 1st, 2023. So we have exactly completed 1 year of the launch of RBM. And let me explain to you as to what is difference in the earlier avatar of RCS and the avatar that we launched as an operator. So earlier, all of you are aware that Google was trying to do RCS in whatever shape and manner they could. And then they partnered with the telcos. They came out with the policy that RBM will be executed by the telcos. So what, as a telco, we bring to the whole RBM equation is that we have tried to make it this channel spam-free, so we have tried to bring in some overarching principles which protect the consumer interest. And we are trying to ensure that the consumers get RBM messages that they have opted for, and they don't get RBM messages for which they have not opted for. And we brought in a lot of trust. So the KYC, the verification of the enterprises, the verification of the brands, and the templates, it's all done by the telcos. So all this is to make this channel very clean so that the marketeers get the ROI, the end consumers are not spammed. And I think that's what's the main difference that as a telco that we brought to the whole system. And this becomes a channel which is very effective for the marketeers, it's very effective for the brands also. And it's been 1 year since we launched. And just to, if I have to quickly summarize, how has it been so far? So a lot of brands have registered themselves on the RBM platform. And we have brands representing from fintech, from consumer goods, from OTT companies, e-commerce. So there's been a great acceptance of this product. And this year it's all about conversational commerce, as this topic is. So 1 year was just educating and creating awareness. And now this year we'll try to scale up so that consumer user journeys are mapped onto the RBM, and this can be a channel where conversations can happen. Thank you very much.
Oh, great starting point. So we heard the starting gun last year, exactly almost a year ago, has been fired for the second time as well, because and much more attention at the cleanness of this channel. Now let's talk to some of the people that are delivering some of the messages and talking to some of the companies out there. Let's talk with Nipun and then Darshan. And Darshan, you got multiple roles, but I'll talk in this way from Dotgo. Let's start probably with you, Darshan, and say, how do you find in this market the appetite from the enterprise side on RCS?
Thanks, MEF, for inviting for this forum, and thank you all. Let me introduce myself. I am Darshan Babel. I'm part of Dotgo. Dotgo is a company focused completely on RCS. We are globally connected to 40 plus countries across 91 carriers. So as we say Dotgo, a dot when moves, it creates a path. So we have been creating path for RCS around. We have partnered ourselves in India with Vodafone Idea, with Dwarka. We are working closely on those stuff for Dwarka spoke on. So under Dotgo, we provide platforms like, we have a Maps platform, which has been used by operators. We have a RBM Hub, which has been extended to aggregators, ISVs, developers, and so on. Yeah. So the question what you asked, Dario, was basically, RCS as a journey in India is really growing. The use cases, initially when we started, right, it was majorly promotions, Gradually now, as the industry is learning, this is a good channel where we can get the stats online. The brands can get stats online. They have started using this channel for mini journey, micro journeys, level 1, level 2, and a complete flow of the journeys are being executed in RCS. A lot of BFSI segment, big companies, big brands, they have started using this journey. So RCS is going forward, good market. So a lot of use cases needs to be driven further on this, which should be more of conversational in that way.
So you were saying it started as a promotional, now we're discovering, as you were saying, Nath, as well. Now it's the potential of the conversational side.
Conversational, yeah. Yeah, so it's picking up in the market. So gradually people are, the promotions to now conversational we can see. Even many of the brands have started using the conversational journey, and we can see the traffic gradually coming up from P2A side also on RCS.
Right. Well, let's hear from Nipun, Infobip. You'll tell us, but one of the largest CPaaS platform worldwide there. Plenty of experience. Can you tell us a bit, India versus the rest of the world? These enterprises are really more interested, or are we just starting to why do we see India so much forward in terms of uptake?
Thanks, Dario, and thanks, MEF and GT for having us all here. Happy to be here. And I think, Dwarka and Darshan already covered a couple of the important aspects of RCS. And I think the topic of our panel is RCS and conversational commerce, right? So it's about, Darshan mentioned conversational. It is moving towards that. As Infobip, we are doing a lot with our customers who are the brands to try and make RCS more conversational, to try and adopt the channel more for not just, as you said, just pushing one marketing message and not expecting a reply from the end user, but try to make it more conversational. In fact, we released something that we call the messaging trends of the entire last year. And a year ago, we were at the MEF forum talking about the same topic, and I remember speaking that we last year had seen the previous year before that, we had seen a 68% rise in adoption of conversational use cases over digital channels. This year, that number has gone up further to another 91% more, so it's almost doubled, right? So the adoption of the conversational aspect of all of these rich channels is increasing, and RCS, of course, brings in something that is very important, which is the security aspect, as Dwarka mentioned, because and a lot of the panels earlier today spoke about trust. I think the word trust was used in practically every panel in some form or shape, right? And the trust is brought in by the fact that the brands are verified by the telco. You have a verified logo, you have a verified brand image, so the consumer knows that they're dealing with the brand that they are expecting to deal with, and it's not just someone tom-tomming as them. Very importantly, what we promote is trying to the richness of the channel is such that you can actually push carousels. You can push multiple products. So I think Darshan touched upon that point, but it's about being a part of the entire customer journey from the marketing side of it, then onboarding the customer, and then taking them to even post sales, like the customer service and the support that they need. And it can all be done with having one app which is on your phone already, and you don't need to have multiple apps for multiple brands. You have just one single app on RCS, and within that RCS window itself, you can do a lot of interactive conversations with the customers and the brands.
So it's a pure feature, the security. You mentioned the addition of the carousel, everything else, the ease of use, which is making such an easy sell in this market. Well, let's talk to some of the other people, some of the other perspective, because we have two players where I would simplify, always again in the wrong, but on the more of the technology side, and I'll start with Tatwa. So I'll start with Shailesh. Well, your company, Tatwa, you'll tell us more about it, but it implements things such as, call centers, which is probably, we've seen it. The other handle, you could say that there is a trade-off. There's going to be more of one or the other. But you are close to the enterprise that are trying to manage all and orchestrating all of these different services. Why do you think that, the RCS story is happening right now in India in such a way?
Sure. Thanks, Dario. Thanks, MEF, and thank you, GTS team, for having me here. So we at Tatwa, basically, we are IT solution, IT operations company. So what we do typically, we study in this industry, create IT solutions, and then see to it, how we can, integrate it with the CPaaS, communication channels. RCS, definitely, we have all discussed, we all know about it. It's a upgraded version of conventional A2P message. But it has, the capability to, carry digital content. It has capability to, carry high streaming, videos and all. But the best part, what RCS basically is the suggestive answers or suggestive, responses, which are available. With those suggestive answers and responses, the businesses and consumers will feel the communication is kind of, it's a complete. Okay, consumers, have this facility to, kind of directly get connected to the call center with the touch of a button, or he can go on a payment page and, make his payment there and there. So this facility, and if you further technically, deep dive and see the compatibility of RCS with the bots or, with the various AI tools, again helps businesses, to kind of automate their customer service or, automate their sales processes. So hence, when we work with enterprise, we give them solutions, they're kind of excited, with RCS, because obviously the ROI also, kind of, they get good returns over it. So.
Well, great. Let me ask you then to Awnish, technology, TechLabs, you deal with, and you breathe with the future, the innovations. How is RCS in this big part of innovation we're looking at? Does it fit?
Correct. So, my name is Awnish. I'm CEO to GTS TechLab. TechLab, as you know, tech venture of Globe Teleservices. And we are engaged into developing platforms and the...
Or is it, let's see if it's, maybe I'll swap with this.
So, we are engaged...
Try to get it closer.
So, GTS TechLab is engaged into developing platform and solutions. Platform, when I see in the two areas, one is the customer experience, another is the fraud and revenue assurance. In the consumer area, customer experience area, the CPaaS platform, the CVM, and the campaign management service is the platform. On fraud management, we have firewall, SMS and voice firewall, flash detection and monitoring tool. Coming back to the question of RCS, I look into the RCS into 3 different buckets. First bucket is the platform bucket. Platform is the cloud, the APIs. The second bucket is the assets, the conversational assets, which are your the chat bots, the policies, the rich cards, carousels, the security and the privacy statements. And the third is the enablers. The enabler comes when this service has to be enabled to the enterprises or to the users. And here comes the campaign management platform plugged with the CDP, the customer data platform, to create the 360-degree customer profile of the customer so that his needs and can be assessed, and then personalization can happen. So why we do this? We do this for the 2 reasons. One is the automation, and the other is the personalization. Automation for the entire ecosystem, the players, and the personalization for the customer. So if I look at all this, the first layer of the platform is well managed in India because that's been managed by Google or the WhatsApp of the world. The second layer is now getting in place with Vodafone and the Reliance Jio now coming into play for creating this, the second layer of the assets, which is the conversational assets. The third layer where we come into play, where the entire enablement has to happen for the RCS. The enablement to happen through the deep learning of the behavior of the customers, because RCS is a conversational methods which throws a lot of data points. And this lot of data points as a data scientist gives us a lot of opportunity to personalize the messaging. And this is how I look at it, and this is evolving field. And all the developer community and the community which is building the services around this would be now catching up fast to deliver it to the customer.
And I hear the word that there is personalizations. Interestingly, it's personalizations of multimedia content. So all of a sudden, you don't just have a simple, so to speak, understanding the customers. You now have got multiple ways or multiple channels to go and show the content to the person. So let's go back and let me ask, first of all, you can keep your microphone and so on, you all have one, but I think I need to make a special remark to the conversational socks, because I only just know. Darshan, those are conversational. I can see that there are little bubbles there. Well done on the socks. I can see how the Indian market is already ready to appreciate, starting from the decorum that you have. Now, because of the socks, I'll start with you. That's now absolutely. Now, why would conversational commerce, which we're talking about, here in India, be so easy to be? You've seen it this morning. I presented the first, WhatsApp. It's a first potential. I want to be communicated with somebody via WhatsApp. I want to be communicated by a company again via WhatsApp. So the Indian consumers out there are really in tune with this idea. Where is that coming from?
I think so. Any commerce will never be there without conversation, right? So the method, the user profiling has been changing over a period of time, right? Earlier, when we didn't have handset, we had a physical way of talking, sending promotions. As the journey of the automation has been moving, we are moving from 2G to 3G, then 4G, and so on, right? So the technology has evolved over a period of time. We are seeing more IPification happening. So in telco world, as I'm coming from a telco background, in telco world we had transport network once upon a time. Now everything is IP-fied, right? So conversational commerce, as we see the journey now going forward, it will be personalized. people will be moving more into the segments where the user is, right? So today user is into IP-fied OTT channels. Today people are using, they have an inbuilt, all the new handset launched by Google has an inbuilt RCS app, which enables a lot of empowerment to the end users. They can do their P2P communication on RCS app, which has a lot of other features. So along with this journey, E2P journey is also getting empowered on the RCS bit. Yeah. So in this journey, as we see more and more use cases will be driven and pushed on RCS platform and the other OTT platforms where the users are available and they get more empowerment. So this empowerment is like, making the end user a bit lazy. They want to sit at home and do all the transaction on the tips of their fingers, right? And this is how the brand is going to add values to themselves. That's what I can say.
So it's almost like an education of the consumers. We've now brought them to a level of digital savvy that they expect their mobile and the conversational commerce to be there, part of it, the digital customer experience. I'll move it around completely because I'm going to ask Shailesh from Tatwa as well. Now, let's talk about the enterprises. Are they particularly ready for these? Are they asking for conversational commerce usage? How is the demand coming from that side?
So we have very interesting, use case, with the microfinance, companies, that sector. So we as a company, what we do basically industry specific, we study the industry, we create a solution for them, work for them, and we approach them. So microfinance companies, especially working in tier 3, tier 4, urban, semi-urban, kind of areas, wherein they have their mobile application and they have these financial products to offer to end users as well as for SME and MSME segment. Now, when, basically they want to promote their products, they can't go digital marketing way because in those particular areas, they won't find, ROI, again on their investments. But the best part of, in our country is basically we are highly density, user base we have. Second, the smartphone users are also there. So when we approach these microfinance companies and says, you use RCS, to promote your products and promotions, we design a workflow for them. And then they started with RCS, they have got, the result was, very excellent. The responses which they've got it were quite interactive. And hence, at the end of the day, they realized even the ROI is better. So, see, if you study a particular industry, create a workflow, understand, what they need, and then you approach them and they put them on RCS, definitely we are going to see a lot more, the success, in this case. But having said that, one thing, which we are also facing, as a challenge, at this moment is the adoption. So, adoption. Yeah. So, adoption, at both the levels. One is obviously at the telco level, and second is at the user level. So, telco level, obviously, we have a first mover advantage, which is there with VA obviously, but once the entire ecosystem comes with RCS, definitely we're going to see more traction, and also user base. There are certain users, they are kind of deprived because of some handset setting and some kind of technical glitch. Probably they are not able to adopt or they are not able to receive messages. But once we evolve, once we solve these problems, then they are definitely going to see more success in RCS.
So I get from you then that the verticalizations of some of the use cases is really helpful to make it true. There's still challenges. We'll come back to the challenges as well. I'll ask you now, Awnish, as well. Now, what do you think? Why do you think that India has been seen the leader in the RCS, RBM, and WhatsApp potentially adoption?
I think we are hearing since morning.
Yeah.
We are hearing since morning, actually. We are the largest digital tribe. The size of digital tribe, as you explained, 853 million.
Yep.
Out of which 70%, 80% owns the smartphone. So these are the reason why the digital or the data usage is growing up, and that's the reason why these guys are adopting these services. The second biggest reason is that mobile first. So most of the customers who are getting acquired are first experiencing these services on the mobile. So it's easy for them to adopt the e-commerce or the conversational commerce easily because they are the first one to come on the service and seeing the conversational message for the first time. The other reasons are could be many, but these are the three. The push of the government, ONDC, or the largest e-com. The size of the e-com business in India is around 110 billion. And it is huge. Out of the two categories, one is the electronics and the apparel. So these two makes up 70% of the total e-com business. These are the businesses can be easily transacted through conversation, using the video, the multimedia mode of the conversation. And that's why the adoption of India seems to be very high for conversational commerce.
Very good. So we got some of the reasons were even relative to a policy of an industrial policy that goes in that direction. May I jump to the carrier view? So, Darshan, you as an operator, how do you explain these markets to be so advanced?
So, like I said earlier, that we was the first operator to launch RBM. So we had a task of creating awareness, explaining the use cases, and driving a certain adoption. Now, when it comes to conversations, okay, the initial use case which Darshan mentioned, promotions, that kick-started it, and it was no-brainer for brands to use this channel for promotion because you had videos, you had carousels, and you had a very trusted logo. Now, when it comes to conversations, there are three things you should realize in the ecosystem. One is the brands, and then we have the integrated system vendors, the ISVs, then you have the CPaaS, and then you have the telcos. Now, any brand is looking to reduce the friction between the various steps in the customer journey. So you'll have to offer convenience, and you'll have to remove all these barriers. Now, let me give you a use case. Okay, so you go and buy an Electrolux washing machine. Now, immediately you get a message that thanks for being a part of the Electrolux customer. Then you get an RBM message saying that, okay, here's the invoice of the washing machine that you purchased. And then you get another message that your engineer is scheduled to visit your house and give a demo. And once you do all that, your warranty card also comes back. So an entire journey is getting mapped. And if the customer wants to reschedule, he can do that by the various call to action buttons that are part of the RBM flow. So this is one use case where, it drives conversation. Now let me touch about the integrated system vendors. Now, every brand has got certain channels. There is an SMS flow, there is an RBM flow, there is a WhatsApp flow, and there are several other flows. Now, we found that the brand were ready, the CPaaS were ready, but the ISVs were reluctant. They were saying like, why do I need to go on developing a new set of APIs? What's in it for us? So we had to work around that inertia also, that resistance that came. So there were certain APIs which we helped reduce this ISV barrier that we were facing. And the second thing which helped the conversation thing go about is personalization. When I meant to say personalization, I don't want to download so many apps. I might be using a travel site booking for one particular transaction, but it doesn't mean that I would like to download that app and become a member of that for just one transaction. So you move that journey onto an RBM. It's just a transaction. I book a hotel or I book a local cab, and it's over and done with. And the third kind of conversations, and this is something very atypical which I've noticed is, we have seen a lot of chatbots and conversations where certain interactions have to be of a personal nature.
Of a personal?
Personal nature.
Personal nature, okay.
Like people who are looking for counseling in their for fighting cancer. There are a lot of diseases where you require some kind of a help. You don't know where to go, how to seek information. So there is an entire conversation, chatbot, and everything that gets built for that particular special use case. So we have seen a great adoption by the NGO sector. And this were some learnings which cropped up. Generally we would expect that the food aggregators, the taxi aggregators, they would be the first ones to adopt, the insurance companies. But then we have seen that there could be multiple use cases. Now in the past 1 year, we have overcome the consumer awareness about RCS, the enterprise adoption. Now we have the ISVs on board, which includes a lot of IT companies as well as the CRM companies. And I will be happy to say that I've laid the groundwork. Now, the other telcos can come to the party whenever they feel like, but the highway has been laid, so now it's just the cars that have to use the highway.
So we'll say thank you for all the groundwork. So we heard there was a resonance of what Awnish was saying, almost like a mobile first. All these digital use cases were available in part because you could make it happen. With Nipun as well, I'd like to come back from a CPaaS perspective. So why do you think these worked? And do you have some other ideas to add to these, to what we've discussed so far?
Yeah, so as we spoke about mobile first, right? I think that is also, again, today to do with the end consumer. The end consumer wants to have everything at their fingertips. Dwarka already very well covered that, you don't want to download multiple apps for multiple different companies and, services that you're interacting with. Having it in one single window really makes a difference. Also, what Dwarka mentioned here is that, now we have PDF support as well. You can push the invoice, the ticket, the warranty card, etc. over that. So it's creating a lot of convenience for the end user. And it's because the end user wants that sort of convenience is why the brands need to be there and are fast moving towards, adopting these digital channels and these conversational methods. I think one very important aspect is, we relied a lot on SMS in the past. OTTs have come in. There have been adoption of OTT in a big way in India. Why RCS? One is that it's secure. It's a telco channel. It's telco, verified. So that makes a big difference. What also makes a difference is that the end user can get what he wants in terms of even service. So there is even, RCS can also then be enabled with a chatbot. The chatbot could have an AI at the back end. And of course, we always have a disclaimer saying that AI cannot be the answer to every, use case. AI can very well augment and help, a service flow. And with obviously some human interaction at the back. So you can be chatting with an agent. Let's talk about a simple use case where a consumer wants to have some more information about a product. So he may ask some FAQs, and the bot may just, start giving him answers. But at some point, if the bot is stuck at not being able to satisfy the answer of the customer, there's an easy transfer at the back end to a live agent, and then you can start chatting with the live agent. And then, of course, there is so much to come in the future. You can even further move into maybe video calling. Voice notes are a big thing now. But for RCS, the important thing is for the brand also, if you go to see the kind of analytics that they get and the kind of insights that they get, because it's not just about a message sent or delivered to your customer. You also get to see if he's read the message. You get the read receipts. So the kind of conversion ratios that they see. I mean, just a quick one. We had a recent use case in Europe for an insurance company where they in the previous year they ran a similar marketing campaign over an email channel, and their let's say conversion rates were less than 1%, 0.5%, which is kind of acceptable for a marketing campaign. They moved the same use case onto an RCS and saw 11% conversion ratio. So you can just see the difference in the channel because it's in the user's hands. It's something that is in your SMS inbox, and the SMS inbox is something that is, we spoke about it earlier as well. SMS is something that is read 90-something% and within the first 1 minute, right? So people will see the RCS message. They will want to interact with it. And as we, increase interesting use cases, the users will also adopt it more.
Well, obviously, a great view. We had a call preparing, and we even had more insights through the call for you. I'll just mention two of them that come to my mind from what you mentioned. You mentioned that at one point, India is so regulated on the SMS side that when it came to conversational commerce, WhatsApp was such a big receiver of some of the traffic, conversational traffic, as we're talking about. And now RCS is kind of learning back from WhatsApp. It's a circle out there. So well done to everybody involved, and well done to keeping this as a clean environment, which is also very important. But new technology, new challenges, security is still there. So we come back. I could keep on going, asking them questions a lot. Before I do a double check on the time and check how many questions there are for later for the Q&A, do you raise your hand so I prepare myself? If not, if you don't have a questions, I'll go with mine. Oh, you have? We'll have one for later. So, okay, I will keep the next sessions fast because we don't have a lot of time. And I'll keep probably the toughest question for last, as it always happens, which is what comes next? Because RCS, growing, okay? Exciting. But we still have a long way to go to reach the full capacity of a channel. So what's your recipe? What does need to happen now make that happen. I'm going to start with Dwarka again because you almost hinted at some of those things before. You were just talking about some of those ISPs, some of those companies that are managing your invoices, your CRM, your customer care. They need to realize of the power of conversational commerce. May I ask you, what else do you think? What else would you ask on top of that, which is necessary for this industry to find an RCS, and potentially WhatsApp conversational commerce as well? Big next step, next chapter.
Yeah, so it's been 1 year, okay, since we started, and I would say that this channel is now here to stay, okay? It's established its worth in the minds of the brands and the enterprises and the CPaaS. So this channel is going to stay, that's what I can definitely say, and it's only going to grow from here, okay? And we have a conversational journey that's already to some extent being mapped by Meta or WhatsApp or whosoever could be. And this offers a very good intermediate channel. You know, there is SMS on one side, there is WhatsApp on the other side. And they are adding a lot of RCS-enabled handsets month on month, you know. So the difference between the user base is going to be negligible in 1 year's time. So then you'll have as many RCS-enabled handsets as well as the WhatsApp-enabled users. And with Apple coming along board, okay, so that's a major achievement as far as the coverage is concerned. Now, while the features keep on getting added day by day based on the consumer interest, I'm sure the telcos will keep adding those necessary APIs. But with Apple coming along, now it's become it will become as ubiquitous as a SMS, and with 5G coming along, the data will, and the smartphone penetration will increase. So it's a perfect storm that's going to come in the next couple of years. And people who have realized the metrics, okay, here you can see certain metrics, percentage read, percentage response. You can measure the effectiveness of your campaigns through the call to action buttons. All this will help the marketeers formulate their plans. This will become a channel as seamless as ever.
Give the marketeers metrics. That's what they like, right? Give them their whole stuff. Awnish, what is your recipe for next success?
Add to him that
Keep it close because
the silence has to go around this service, because so far there's a marketing silence from the Google, from the WhatsApp, or the operators. All operators have to work together to create a process to enable the ecosystem, is the ISV ecosystem or the developer community to work along with the highway, on this highway what they created. So the second one advice would be that the pricing. The complex pricing or the pricing which is a little higher than what is expected should not be there. So these are the two things which, if standardization, first point was about the standardization of the service. All the MNOs should put together a kind of effort in the market to build this. The second is about the standardization of the pricing. These are the two things which, to my mind, can work wonder for the RCS adoption.
And so let me also introduce here the GSMA mentioned to us. They're still working on it, but there are big news on the new standards potentially by June. So expect some announcement around that time. We hope. Fingers crossed. From Tatwa, Shailesh, what would you suggest to this market to move forward and faster on RCS?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, the adaptation is definitely the key. You know, what we have found is there are certain users, they don't have these settings, enabled. New handsets, they do have settings. Old handsets, they don't have the settings. So as a body, probably Google, Alphabet, MEF, and the telcos, obviously, if all of us can create a awareness kind of a campaign, or do some system upgrades, handset upgrades, or some over-there settings you just send on user base and see to it that those handsets are RCS enabled. That is number one. India is definitely the market where we see it's So most, I would say, the promising market would be for RCS. We have, the high teledensity, the smartphone users are there. We have the best, ecosystem for startups. The digital literacy is driven by the government itself. We have government which is, backing up the businesses. So looking at all these parameters, I see the great future, for RCS. On technical part of it, and the scalability, probably we need to look at it how you going to manage the load.
Scalability. Get ready for big numbers. That's what the industry likes to know. Nipun, what's your solution?
I think we spoke about a lot of solutions. Also, just to add to what Shailesh said, that the adoption, there's a lot being done already on the handset. The number of handsets enablement being increased already. Google is working in that area. There are multiple tie-ups with handset manufacturers as well. So, the number is increasing very rapidly. Juniper Research actually says we'll have 2.1 billion global RCS-enabled phones by 2025. So that number is actually really growing very fast. And in terms of adoption, I think I spoke about it earlier, but it's just about having interesting use cases, getting the users engaged with RCS and letting them, enjoy that channel. As long as the users start enjoying it, that's where the demand will come for it from the enterprise, and that's how it will grow. And one quick suggestion that we as Infobip really play on is telcos should use it for their own use cases to engage with their own customers. I know VI is already doing some of that. Other telcos are also doing it, where you start pushing your messages, which were earlier on an email or an RCS channel, to your own consumers. So that's let's say, the fastest way to get them used to and engaged with the channel.
And because you mentioned use cases, I'll mention that we MF in our website have got entire sections of use cases and ROI, real numbers from campaigns. If you have any of the campaigns currently or previously running in India, let us know. So we'll put it there so everybody will see how different applications, use cases are really faring in this market. So, sorry, in internal advertising, thanks, Nipun. So, Darshan, I left you last. What would be your suggestion for RCS in India next? What needs to be done?
As we see, RCS is now competing with two factors, majorly with WhatsApp, and other is our black and white box. There is an inbox, old SMS story. So it is like the road which was a grayish black kind of stuff. We have started seeing some kind of color on that. That is, RCS is onboarded in India now. Yeah. And now the challenge, what we see is that adding new features in the RCS, be with what the other OTT players are offering in the market, how we can develop that ecosystem bit fast and go to market. That will be a big challenge, because if a feature has been developed and then it goes to a CPaaS providers, a developer, ISVs and so on, and then it goes to brand and the end user, it takes a longer journey. So the challenge here is how we can shorten this journey. That would be a big stuff from the RCS journey going forward. This will really, if this time frame can be reduced overall, this will really help the conversation commerce be more towards RCS, faster towards RCS.
So the conversation, the fastest, the efficient conversations, the efficient customer experience happening there. You heard the recipes, you might have others, but definitely I would say this market, more than others, looks already very advanced. Well done to everybody participating in this market. We'll see what happens very closely in the next few months. And we had one question, which I will ask because I see a big sign, time's up. A fast question and a fast answer. Let's see.
Hi.
Could you introduce yourself as well?
Hi, I am Nitin Seth from SMS Magic. We are a conversational messaging app. We integrate closely with CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, and Zoho. So my question, I think the panel gave great information about RCS. We are in this industry, but we didn't have that kind of awareness which we got from this session. My question to you specifically, and it is very related to what Darshan said at last, what impact it will have on the value chain? Will it be similar to a SMS value chain where there are multiple SMS aggregators and there are CPaaS players? Or do you think that is going to be transformed?
Darshan, I think it was directly addressed to you. So,
I think so. The journey remains at a high level the same, what we have seen for SMS and what we are seeing today for the other OTT players, right? But the change what we see here in the RCS journey is that it is an overlap on the same inbox, right? The SMS and RCS lies in the same inbox, right? So in that journey, faster we move, better for us, so that we can reduce the time frame, we can go to market, becomes faster for the brands. That is what going to help. Hope that answers your question.
Great. And we'll have more chance later on to continue our chat later on. I think the red sign that says time's up, so I do believe you were behind me waiting to stop me at any point.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a huge round of applause to our esteemed panelists on stage. Thank you so much.